So we all know that our topic is identifying stakeholders and collaborating for a sustainable future. And our facilitator for today is Esther Chibueyi Fado. And right now I'll just be sharing my screen so that we're able to also see how amazing our facilitator for today is. Okay, so we have an amazing facilitator for today, and she's no other person than Miss Esther Chibueyi Fado. She is a passionate environmentalist, partnership manager, and HR leader with over half a decade of experience. She's working to build a more sustainable future for Nigeria and the world. Over the years, Ms. Esther has leveraged her diverse experience in environmental management, business development, partnerships, HR, and project leadership to scale impact. A proven track record includes driving growth, securing funding, and delivering impactful projects across the non-profits and social enterprise sectors. So I would like for us to put in the chat box our excitement as our facilitator comes on board to share our knowledge and a lot of experience with us.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Esther, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be talking about one of the things that I love to talk about the most, apart from doing it as a job, is also something that I love to talk about the most. I'll be sharing my screen on my laptop. I'm joining with my phone camera so that you guys can see my face. My laptop just developed an issue with the camera, so I have to join with two devices. Sorry, I'm very vulnerable like that. So this is the screen. Let me try to share my screen. But how are you guys doing?
Luchi says we are good. How about you? Uma says we are good, Ma. Asma says we are good.
Nice. Okay. I'm good as well, Oluchi, and every other person. I'm supposed to share in a slideshow, but I have a working document, and I like to also, work on my document while I'm having my presentation so that it's collaborative. And how else do you know somebody that is big on partnership and collaboration if that doesn't even happen in her section? So today we'll be talking about identifying stakeholders and collaborating for a sustainable future. And so it's so many things, identifying like stakeholders, like who are even stakeholders, what does it even mean to collaborate, and a sustainable future, what does it mean, to everybody? When they say there's this thing that's coming to my head when they say, do you want to eat amala and gbegiri with ewedu, or you want to eat jollof rice and chicken? And then the song will just go, na collabo. Do we know that? I think it's a trending video. I'm not so much on TikTok, but I've seen it a couple times. Have anybody seen it? Na collabo. Have anybody seen it? You guys are laughing. Nobody is saying yes or no. Okay, so sure. Okay, yes. Oh, if you've not seen it, you need to go and look for it and watch it. So that collabo is just like saying like, why are you giving me one thing when I can have like both? Like, why should I just have rice when I can have rice, finish the rice and still eat like the amala? Why am I just this Esther, the girl that is good with partnership, and that is all that I have to offer? Why can't I be this Esther that is good with partnership and also like get funding, together, just having like everything together? Why is it all? Why not and? So like trying to take off like the the all away when you're thinking, but now thinking about the and. So let's move to the next slide. So like the objective of this section, I saw like some of your expectations, so like the objective is to equip young Nigerians like you and the civil society with the tools. Very, very important tools. You know that I like this picture because I just got my son. I have a son, he's 2. I just got my son a toolbox like this, just exactly like this, but like a toy one that he uses to play. And for me, it's so interesting that there are so many things that are inside that toolbox that are very useful, like even for like the things that we have to do even in the house. Like the hammer that is there it's not just a toy hammer, it can also function. So I had to even like retrieve some of the things inside from him because it's like, don't break our wall, So like, and that's like tools, because tools are very, very important. Nobody can, congratulations to him, thank you. Nobody can operate without tools. Nobody can work without tools. So if you are a teacher, for instance, you need your tools, and some of your tools could be like your curriculum or any of those things that you would need. Like you need a board, either a marker board or a chalkboard, but you need a board, right? In some schools, they'll need dispenser water, AC, classrooms. Those are tools that you need to do your job. Somebody says he can't hear. Is it the only one, or every other person can't hear?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, please, Peter, can you check your okay, all right. So let's continue. So and then we're how we can collaborate for a sustainable future. And the focus is really like on Nigerian SNAP and NDCs. But before we dive right in, I want us to think about organizations that you think you can contribute or that are contributing to climate action. Okay, so I'm waiting for you guys. Think, share with me, because it's a collaborative lecture. NCF, okay, we have NCF, all right. Which other one? Action Aid, which other one? NEDC. What does NEDC means? I don't know. Please help me. What else? Northeast Development Commission. Great. Okay. Ecocyclers. NCDC, what does that mean, please? Green Hub, Subsidy Vibes. Sorry, I'm just picking the ones I can see. Eco Banter, NISS. Oh, you guys are so good. Eco Champions. UNDP, DP, Trees for the Future. It's so interesting that there are so many. What is NOAA? What is NOAA? What's the meaning? There's NAP, there's CAA. What's the meaning of CAA, please? National Orientation Agency. Great. Okay, so you see now that it is not just long live the earth, Okay. Great green wall. Thank you so much, everyone. You see, that's why when I'm taking sections, it's always an opportunity to learn. Now I know what NEDC means, what NOAA means, and so that means you guys are ready for this section because like some organizations that are contributing to climate action or sustainability. But I'm going to add my organizations, recyclers, just in case you guys don't know about them, so that you can go learn about them. Fair Plastic Alliance. I'm now going to add Nestle. Okay, let's move this up a bit. Nestle. I'm going to now add like Ministry of Environment. Okay. So I've just added some organization because I found out that, one, I felt like, the people did not mention recyclers, and I work with recyclers. And then I work with Fair Plastic Alliance, and you guys did not mention them. Please let me add them to the list. Then Nestle, because, they're also contributing, and I wanted us to take off our eyes away from just the what's it called now? Like away from businesses, NGOs, government organizations, and also like think about like other organizations that are contributing, might not necessarily be part of, they might not necessarily be doing it as their core, but like as a part of what they do, they are contributing to climate action and sustainability. All right, great. So let's move. So who are stakeholders? So stakeholders is like anyone or organization that has an interest or a role in a particular issue or process or challenge or problem. So anybody that has interest or has a role to play, either they're the ones causing the problem, or they're the ones suffering from the problem, or they are part of the reason why that problem is existing, they're playing a role. And then interest, they're interested in that problem. So they might not be the one causing the problem. They might have not experienced the problem. They might not even like know so much about the problem, but they might be interested in the problem, right? So those are like very key words. So always when you're thinking about stakeholders, always think about interest and then think about like the role. Then I'm sure we all know like what NAP and NDC is, like what they mean, and then their goals. So like the goal of NAP is like they want to be like a resilience and reduce like vulnerability to in terms of climate change by integrating adaptation policies into planning and the policy. So integrating adaptation into like planning and then policies, right? And then NDC, they represent like Nigeria's commitment under the Paris Agreement to reduce greenhouse gas emission and adapt to climate impact. I just wanted to put this out so that, just in case somebody doesn't know like what the goals of these people are, we can, somebody say, can I increase what? Can you increase the view of your screen? Okay, let me do this slideshow. Just that with this slideshow now, I'll not be able to type. Maybe when I have to type, okay. All right, so in terms of achieving these goals, like the goals of NAP and NDCs, is very important that we collaborate, that there is collaboration, and then people are working to achieve like these goals across different sectors. Now, let's look at the stakeholders' roles and contributions. So some of the stakeholders that you might know of or might not necessarily know of would be government. Government is very important. Private sector is very important. Civil society is very important. Communities or community, they're very, very important stakeholders that you should be aware of. Now, let's talk about their roles. So in terms of government, in terms of government, their role is policy development, funding regulation, and enforcement of the policy that has been developed, right? So for instance, we have like Ministry of Environment, state environmental agencies and the rest. Then we have like private sectors. Private sectors are like, they're the ones that comes up with like innovation, the technology. They have the liberty to think about how best can we do this or what can we do to solve this problem. And in terms of private sector, there's also like social enterprises. So between private sector and civil society is social enterprise. So a social enterprise is like an organization that is a private entity, but solving like a social problem, right? So it's not an NGO, they're a private business. They are making money from whatever it is that they are doing. So they're not an NGO. An NGO doesn't necessarily have to make money. And most times an NGO relies on grants for its operations. But for private organization, the organization has like their own what's it called, like their own revenue. They have to generate revenue and make money, pay salaries, tax and all of that. But in terms of NGO, there's some tax that are being waived for civil societies. So it's not an NGO, it's a business, and it can go public as well, in terms of private sector. So they have like what their own role there is to come up with innovation, technology, investment, sustainable business practices. And some examples are like energy companies, agricultural businesses, you know. For instance, when you look at energy companies, let's say Total, for instance. Total is an energy company, but you might be thinking that, oh, okay, they're just an energy company. Why should they be exactly interested in climate change or not? But they have a role to play, and their role is like having like investing into projects that are climate related, because at the end of the day, climate change affects everyone. And if we do not take care of climate change or take steps towards reducing the effect of climate change, it's going to affect everybody, right? So like everybody has a role to play, but just trying to define that role, to understand like the role that this person has to play, is very key and very important. There's also civil societies, and the role of civil society is advocacy, creating awareness, advocacy in terms of letting people know like this is a problem, there is a problem, and we need to solve this problem, capacity building, community mobilization. Example, I'm mentioning Recyclers of Fair Plastic Alliance because Recyclers is actually a social enterprise, like I explained before. But sometimes you want to mention, in this case, sometimes in terms of solving a social problem, you want to say, oh, it's a civil society, right? And then other NGOs. Then the local communities, we have the community as well. You need the local community and the external community being like international communities. So like local communities are the communities that are on ground, and their role is to do the implementation of like whatever solution that we have, to give like, they have like the indigenous knowledge. So for instance, we're going to far away north to teach the people about recycling. How do you go to north and teach people about recycling? And you cannot speak Hausa. So you need a local community there that can speak Hausa to, translate whatever you're saying to Hausa so that the people understand like what you're saying. And then, those are the people that have like direct impact on climate policies. So if you look at our own local communities, you can see that, they can stand up to the government and, say, oh, this is what we want, or this is what we don't want. And the government can now influence or make these policies. So like international organizations or communities, their own contribution is to fund technical assistance, global advocacy, to let the whole world now know that, oh, this is a problem, either peculiar to a particular region or peculiar to a particular state or a global problem, right? Like climate change now is a global problem. It's affecting everybody. So, and that's why we have like international organizations like World Bank, UNDP, United Nations as a whole, ILOs, and many other international organizations that might not even have like a presence in the country where this challenge is happening, right? So let's move forward. Please, are you all still with me, or did I lose anybody? Okay. All right, still here. Yes, I'm following. Yes. Okay, now let's go. So this section, we're talking about identifying key stakeholders, that is stakeholder mapping. This is very important. A lot of people do not do this. And if you don't do this at the beginning of trying to map your stakeholders, you're going to lose out in terms of you will not understand how to chase, who to chase, when to chase, or what to do, right? So stakeholder mapping is a tool. Like I said, this class is about tools, right? So I'm giving you this tool. This is a tool that you use to systematically identify and assess like the influence and the interest of various stakeholders in climate adaptation and sustainability efforts. So you really need it to access. So for instance, if I'm not feeling too well and I go to the hospital, what would they do? They'll take my blood test. If I say, oh, I'm feeling feverish, I'm feeling this way, they'll take my blood sample and then they'll run it through a tool. And that tool would help them determine if I have malaria, or I'm just tired, or I just need food, And then if that is already sorted out, the doctor now knows that, oh, there's malaria, so let's treat malaria. Or, oh, we're thinking that it is malaria, but it is not malaria. You just have like an infection. Let's treat the infection. And that tool has helped the doctor to understand that. So for anybody that is going to do stakeholder managing or stakeholder management or managing stakeholders, what is very important for you to do is to do the stakeholder mapping. It is very, very important, very, very important. And how do you do this? You categorize the stakeholders into 4 categories. There's the high influence and high interest. There's the high influence but low interest. There's the low influence but high interest. There's the low influence and low interest. Now, let me explain. So for instance, we have high influence and high interest. Those are key stakeholders. Those ones, you don't joke with them. When we say somebody has influence is that the person can make a decision. The person can determine what happens to that problem. That is influence. Interest is that the person wants to know, or the person has something in this thing. The person has an interest in this thing. There's a value for somebody in this thing. So look at it like there is value for somebody in this thing, and then there's interest for somebody in this thing. That is why the person has interest. And then influence is that this person can make a decision. So you separate those two. This person has interest. This person has influence. 2 things. So when you see somebody that has influence and interest, That's a key stakeholder. The person can influence the decision, the person can make a decision, the person can control some things in terms of that challenge or that problem. That is a key stakeholder, and the person also has interest. Example is the Ministry of Environment in terms of environmental issue. Large corporations in energy or in agriculture. If it's in waste management, for instance, in Lagos State, we can say LOMA, because it's the authority that manages waste in Lagos State, right? So we can say LOMA. They are key stakeholders. They are very important. You cannot say, oh, I want to do a waste management business or a waste management NGO in Lagos, and I am going to neglect LOMA. You have already neglected your key stakeholders. So you need to know, like, who are my key stakeholders? What are they doing? When you look at your key stakeholders and you look at what are they doing, what is the goal of my key stakeholders? How does what I am doing align with the goals of my key stakeholder? How can I help my key stakeholder achieve their goals? And in most cases, key stakeholders are like governments, large corporations. They have the influence, sometimes because they have the money to solve that problem, right? So you want to ask yourself those questions with your key stakeholders. Very important. First thing is to identify your key stakeholders. A lot of times you spend time with people that are not key stakeholders, and we spend a lot of time there, and we're not doing anything. And then it seems like, oh, we have not done so much. But it's because we're not working with the key stakeholders. So when you identify a key stakeholder, let's use an example. I work in the waste management sector. LOMA is a key stakeholder. And one of the goals of LOMA is to ensure that people recycle their waste, right? And collect recyclables from source. So how is my business going to help LOMA? What do I need with LOMA, or how can I get LOMA's influence? Sometimes you don't even exactly need to start working with your key stakeholder at the beginning, but just aligning with the goal of your key stakeholders and being sure that, okay, I know what my key stakeholder is demanding. I know what they want. This is what I can do to support what they want. Government. One time Fashola was, I think it was Governor Fashola that was governor at the time, and he was, planting trees everywhere. So anybody that was planting tree knew that the interest of the person that has influence the most in the state is in this tree planting NGO that I have or something. So you align with it, right? Imagine that there's a government that is cutting down trees, and then you are now doing planting trees. That's dead on arrival. So you have to align with the goals of your key stakeholder. I deliberately dwelled on that because it is very important. Then the next set of stakeholders are the ones that have the high influence, but they don't have interest, low interest. They have high influence, but they don't really have interest like that. Their interest is still very low. So for instance, it's like potential allies. So you call them like potential allies. They are potential, Yes, they have influence, but they might not have interest. They don't have interest. Their interest is low. For instance, businesses that could benefit from sustainability. We all know that climate change is affecting everybody, and it's going to affect everybody, and we all have to work towards it. We know that one. But you and I know that it is not all businesses that are exactly interested in it. Some tech startup might want to say that, yes, we have the influence in terms of we have money to give to any NGO or anybody, but we're not really interested. So for this set of people, what you want to do is first look for a way to make them interested, because they have high influence, which is part of the things that you need. We'll come to that. Somebody says Shell, for example, is a negative stakeholder. Please, we're not calling names. And okay, let's move on. So, you take them as potential allies. You know that this person has high influence, but this person is not interested. What can I do to make this person interested? That is how you start. But how do you even start in the first place? It is first identifying your stakeholder and the category that they belong to. Stakeholder mapping. The next set of people is low interest, low influence, high interest, NGOs. That's like community groups or small NGOs that are passionate about climate issues. Community group, they just have passion, but they don't have money to do it. I'm sorry, it's not a jab, it's the truth. So there's passion. I want to save the world. The way the world is going, something is gonna happen. I need to save the world. That's high interest. Like me, when I was in secondary school, I wrote an essay on climate change. And I was really scared that the world was going to end. So I wanted to, I need to do something to save the world. If I don't save the earth, we're all not going to have a planet to live on again. So I have high interest, tiny me in GSS3. Then, please, what influence do I have? It's just essay that I wrote, though. I didn't have any influence. No influence, low influence. There's nothing I can do. So I have my interests, right? Then there is low influence and low interest. That's like all the marginal stakeholders. You can bring them through advocacy. This one, they don't get influence, they don't get interest. That's like, I'm saying so you understand, like nothing. They did not come with, there is nothing. So you cannot stay there and be driving. You cannot be pushing or trying to get these people. There's no influence. There's no interest. You go to the market woman on the street. I'm not trying to, let me not even use market woman. You're going to work with a banker in the morning and you enter the same BRT. And you're trying to pitch your idea of tree planting to get funding from the banker as a person, to get funding from him as a person, not from his bank. The banker guy is not interested in your climate issues. He wants to first eat. He's looking for money first to eat. And he does not have any influence. So why you taking your time? Some of us were always wasting our time talking to the people that are not, that like, pack your bag, immediately you just see that this person, low interest, low influence, pack everything like this. Oh yeah, on my head, I'm going, just leave, because you're just wasting your time. But when there is high interest and there's low influence, you would look at what you can do to make that influence high. That is where collaboration comes in. You see now that the people that have high influence but have low interest, you can cross it, right? You can cross it with the people that have low interest and take it there. So that means somebody that has high influence and somebody that has high interest, they can collaborate, they can collaborate, they can work together to achieve a common goal. But even when you want to collaborate with somebody that has low influence and low interest, there is nothing that you can get from that relationship. So now we have an activity. I've got an activity for you guys. How do I go back now? Sorry, I'm trying to go back so that we can type. 1 second, please. Please. It's still showing. Sorry, 1 second. Need to just open this again. Where's the Zoom? Okay, this is Zoom. So I have an activity. Let's begin to think about the high interest and the low interest, and let us fill this up. Now, please give me examples. I need to type. I'm going to share this with you. So if you cannot see it clearly, please just bear with me. I will share it after this class. So examples of high influence, high interest. Ministry of Environment, okay. Ministry of Environment, okay. Please give me, you people are giving me examples that I gave you people. Loma. What is the meaning of NEMA? States environmental agencies. Please keep it coming, because this is what you need. When you're saying, where can I find stakeholders? Please share with us. World Bank, National Agency, National Emergency Management, Environmental Protection Board, EPB, UN, yes. Because what's the meaning of IMET? What's the meaning of this word? The Great MasterCard Foundation, UNDP. Is that all? I Lead for Africa, NESRA. I Lead for Africa, Nigeria Climate Change Commission. Okay. See, my board is almost full. Okay, so let's move to, so I have to move this up, bring this down, take this to the side, take this back, up. Okay. Down, and bring this down. Okay, good. So now with all your examples, I'm sure that you all know what like high influence, high interest is, like the people that are of high influence and high interest. And not just in the environmental sector, in any sector, look at it, who are the people that have interest in this thing and they have influence? just do it. So all of these examples are correct. I don't think that there's anyone that we need to debate if they are or they are not. Okay, so now let's look at high influence, low interest examples. Please give me examples. I don't know. I need to learn. Somebody says Shell, radio stations. Okay, let me take radio stations. Radio stations. So now in this case is for environmental issues, right? This person that is calling Shell, it's as if you have beefing. Why are people calling Shell, Chevron, NBC, CBN, banks? But there's a bank that is leading in terms of climate issues. But yes, yeah, I just says banks. High interest, low interest. Somebody says Shell. Should I write it? No, let me not write it. Who else? What else? So let me just leave out CBN. Please let me leave out CBN in case they want to come in for a job. Do not go and see this presentation and say, this girl. MTN. Okay. Local government. Are we sure local government? Save the Children. PHCN, Nigerian Broadcasting. Okay, so let's just leave it as businesses, right? Businesses that are not directly impacted by the work we do. In this case, i.e., sustainability, right? In this case, sustainability. So like any business that's, they're not directly impacted. So when you say like, for instance, somebody was talking about Shell, I don't want to neglect that. Somebody was saying Shell, so Shell is not exactly impacted. It's not like their core job for them to do it. So they might not be interested, right? So I'm not putting names because to you, it might feel like they're not interested. But to somebody else that they might have supported in the past, they might have, that means they have grown to be, they were not initially high influence, low interest, but they have now grown to be high influence, high interest. I don't know if you understand that. Yes. So radio stations, banks, businesses that are not directly impacted by the work we do, i.e. sustainability. So in this case, you'd see that these people that have high influence, high interest, they can influence these people that have high influence but have low interest to become interested. Who can tell me how? Who can tell me how? Large manufacturing, yes. Somebody said partnership. Could it be? Okay, my question, I'm saying that if you look at these examples now and you look at this thing, right? This dashboard, this slide we're working on, you'll see that the people that have high influence and people that have high interest, they can influence the people that have high influence and low interest to now have interest. How? Exactly. Somebody just mentioned it. Through policies that would cause their engagements. So, for instance, I had a meeting last week, no, 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but I'll just give you guys an idea. I had a meeting with some top level big brands in Nigeria. And there's a particular material. We all know that they ban what's it called? Styrofoam in Lagos, right? Laws, policies, yes. So there's also a particular material that the government is looking at banning. And because the government is now looking at banning that material, these people are now interested in things that they can do to make this material become relevant, to make this material become reusable, to make this material become better. And that is because of government policies, government laws. So these ones that have the high influence, high interest, the agencies, they can make laws that will make every other person interested. That's why you need them. That's why you need to do things that are according or in line with their goals. Right? So if you have people that have low interest and you have the government will be able to, influence them. Okay, low influence, high interest, let's just say NGOs, so that we don't take so much time. Low influence, low interest, let's say everyday people that we meet, right? I just remembered one program I used to watch when I was younger. Everyday people. That's you, that's me. Okay, so this is like the semi to the last. Our time is fast spent. God, I talk too much when I'm talking about things like this. Sorry. So now, strategies for collaboration. Now you already know that it is important for you to collaborate. So somebody says, where do students union fall under? Okay, so where do you think student union fall under? Why are you laughing at NGOs? NGOs have passion, but no power. That's why collaboration is important. So student union, where do they fall under? Think. They fall under high influence, but low interest. Student unions have high influence. But if they're not interested in what you are doing, then in terms of sustainability. But if, for instance, they are trying to influence something else, it depends. They can be under high influence, low interest. They can also be low influence, high interest, because they can have interest. Maybe the president of the student union is interested in sustainability issues, but the school or something is not interested. In that case, they will still be high influence, high interest. So they're either high interest, high influence, high interest, or high influence, low interest. But I don't think they can be low influence, because student union is very influential. So I don't think they can be low interest. All right, let's move on. So now that you know that you need to collaborate, you need to work with those that have high influence, high interest. You need to work with those that have high interest, high influence, low interest. How do you now collaborate? Strategies. I'm just going to give you guys strategies. So the first one is, why do you even need to collaborate? Number one, you need to collaborate because you're pulling together resources. So if we want to build a house for children to live in, and I want to build the house alone. If I don't have the money to build the house, it will take a longer time. I'm just there interested in building the house to save the people, but I don't have the money to do it, right? But if I meet up with somebody that has the money to do it, and the person is interested in doing, maybe the person does not even have time to do it. That way we can work together. So collaboration is like bringing out different resources, and anything is a resource. Time is a resource. Money is a resource. Materials is a resource. Knowledge is a resource. Human resource is a resource. Everything is a resource. So don't think that, oh, this person did not give me money. No, don't always just think about money. When you think about collaboration, think about resources. Oh, this person might not give me money, but what can this person give me? Can this person give me the things that I need to bring my business to the level where I can raise funding? Can this person give me the knowledge that I need to bring my account statements to the level where I can go to the bank and get a loan? Can this person help me in grant writing? What can this person do? That is what you should always think of in terms of collaboration. Always collaborate. Collaboration is like you can bring financial, technical, human resources, and different things. The first partner that we had at Recyclers is DHL. Guess what they gave us? One of their bicycles that they were not using again. At the time, Recyclers was using bicycles. So imagine that, you know, the founder was just thinking about money. You know, we have not gotten that bicycle. And from that bicycle, you know, we'll get there. So shared expertise. So different stakeholders bring unique perspective, knowledge, and innovation, like I have mentioned. So you share it together and then you achieve a common goal. Then greater impact. The Bible says that, I'm a Christian, so I get some of my principles from the Bible. The Bible says that one will chase 1,000, but two will chase 10,000. It didn't say that two will chase 2,000. It says two will chase 10,000. That means like just you alone, you're chasing 1,000. But when you not do it with somebody, you can chase even more. And that's like 10,000, as much as 10,000. So do the multiplier effect and then you see. So you can reach more people. You can influence policy. You can create large-scale change, right? You might just be an NGO, and you might not be able to go beyond your community because you don't have funding for it. But there might be another organization that will come, they'll bring their truck, they'll bring everything, they'll bring microphone, you will go from street to street, and you can go everywhere. Another organization can sponsor an advert on TV, on billboard. So those are like why we should collaborate. Then effective strategies for collaborating. There are so many strategies, but these three, they're very effective. And I will tell you for free, they are like very, very effective. Number one is establish trust. Build trust. Trust is the foundation of every relationship, every partnership. Think about collaboration as that relationship that you have with your friend, maybe your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your wife or your husband. Trust is very important. It's the foundation. You need to build trust. People need to trust you. You need to establish a clear, very clear, like transparent. You need to be very transparent with your communication and the way you communicate with the stakeholders. And that's why sometimes when you go to meet a stakeholder first, they're not asking, when you ask for one thing, go back to them and say, oh, I asked for, you gave me a bicycle today. With this bicycle, this is what the bicycle has helped me achieve. Transparency. Oh, you gave me a bicycle. Somebody else gave me paid for the staff that will be riding the bicycle. I don't know if you understand. But some of us want to collect the same thing from everybody. We want to collect bicycle from everybody. They not collect money to pay the staff that ride the bicycle from everybody. It doesn't work that way. You have to establish trust. Then you have to align your goals. Like I said at the beginning, when we're mapping the stakeholder, high influence, high interest. You need to look at their goals and align. You have to ensure that you are aligned with the goals of your stakeholders. Your objective may be different, but at the end of the day, there must be something that is mutually beneficial for both of you. Either both of you want to fight climate resilience or climate change, but there must be a common ground. I'm not saying that all the roles or all the goals of your stakeholder must align with all your goals. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it must align. There must be alignment. It might just be one of their goals that align with your major goals. And that is it. So then next thing is, once you have aligned, once you have identified the stakeholders and you're building the partnership, the next thing is always have a memorandum of understanding. Always have an MOU or any similar agreement that will formalize the role and the expectation of each stakeholder. State it clearly. My name is Esther, and I'm going into this partnership with Oluchi. In this partnership, Oluchi is going to give Esther 10 million naira. And Esther, with this 10 million naira, is going to, Oluchi is laughing. Esther, with this 10 million naira, is going to set up or have 20, let's say recycling centers. Or Esther is going to educate 40,000 school children in 5 different locations over 6 months. Somebody say no man name in the fund sharing. I will know is going to give us the 10 million naira, and then we'll now use that term. So state clearly in the MOU what you're going to do. What is this person going to do? What is this other person going to do? And what is that? And then sign it. And in terms of now building trust and building on that foundation of trust, is ensuring you do everything that you have said in your MOU. And when you're not able to meet up, everybody understands. Go back and communicate. Communicate with your stakeholder. Let them know. Give them feedback. Have a feedback mechanism where you say, this is what you said we should do. This is what we have done. This is what we have gotten to. Okay, we tried to do this, but this is not going very well. And one secret, and what I do at Recyclers a lot, is when we're venturing into something new, I always ask for a pilot. No matter how excited I am, I do not make promises to my stakeholders. So don't make promises and say, don't worry. We will ensure that we meet 10,000 school children. What if COVID happens and you're not able to go to the schools, and the schools will not accept you online, right? So you will say that, so you can do a pilot if you're not sure of what you can achieve or the outcome. You can do a pilot and say, let's do a pilot for 6 months. I like 6 months pilots. That's what I do a lot. So test this idea. You can do pilots for 2 years. It depends on the volume of, before you allow your stakeholders, especially the ones that want to commit finances, before you allow them commit a lot of finances into whatever it is that you want them to do, ensure that, ensure that you establish that partnership, that MOU, and then that expectation is in place. All right. So next, I'm going to give you case studies of successful partnerships that I have been privileged to lead or manage. There's so many. I manage all partners in Recyclers, and I enjoy my job. I like it because you get to talk to different people, hear their expectations. And it's funny how you have to treat, it's funny how you're doing a job that you're pleasing different people. So everybody is dragging you. That's how my job is. So today, this organization is dragging me. Tomorrow, that organization is dragging me. Next tomorrow, that organization is dragging me. So I'm literally being dragged, right? So I'll give you one case study, Unilever and Recyclers. I joined Recyclers in 2020. And this partnership began in 2014. First Unilever was just supporting our cleanup activities, just simple activities that recyclers would do. Recyclers is a social enterprise that incentivizes people in low-income communities in exchange for their recyclables, just in case anybody doesn't know about recyclers. And so we went into the Kiosk partnership. Today we're still reporting that project. Kiosk partnership, where we established like community recycling center, small container that we converted to kiosk, like this one. That's my boss standing in front of the container, something like that. So Unilever gave us money to set up the kiosk, and we manage the operations, like paying the salary of the person that is there, evacuating the materials, and then we send them like reports every month to say, this is what the kiosk is doing, this is what each kiosk is doing, this is the number that we have collected, and all of that. That is feedback. So in terms of that, when we're successful with that, we went into the franchise partnership. The first one we did was the we Transform. They had introduced us to a program called Transform, and we're able to do a pilot for our franchise because we believed so much in our franchise model. And after the success of that pilot, now we also raised funding with Unilever. So Unilever has like a part of the money, and it's a lot of detail right there. But like the partnership has raised over $4 million. But it did not raise $4 million in one day. This partnership, over the years has raised $4 million. And that is because it grew. There was feedback. Now, 2014 to 2024, this is 10 years into that partnership. And we're still together, still doing a lot of things together. Some organizations, the partner that you partnered with before, it's just once, and that was it. Because of how you treated them, because there was no feedback, there was no progress report, you did not present your ideas in the way that you're supposed to present it. There was no MOU. So maybe the partner was expecting something else and you were giving something else. You felt like you were giving a lot, but the partners did not feel like they were getting what they were supposed to get because there was no MOU. When there was a miscommunication, when things went wrong, you did not communicate. And I am not here to tell you that, all the projects were successful. No, there were challenges. And at each point where there were challenges, we will communicate, say, this is a challenge that we're having. It's very important. Progress over perfection. Nobody's expecting that, you should be all perfect, right? But progress over perfection, communicate it. Now we're expanding our franchise model and building a recycling plant because of this partnership. And because now an organization like Unilever is with us, many organizations want to roll with us because they want to roll with the big boys. I play so much because life is not hard, right? Other people now want to roll with you. And when you want to talk to some other partners, you can now go and talk to them saying that this is what we have done with these people and this is what we have achieved. That same report that you're sending to these other people, you don't have to share the exact report, but you can say, through this partnership with these people, this is what we have done, or we will need your own support. Do you understand? Over 11,000 tons of recyclables have been diverted into the recycling value chain from the dump sites. So recyclables that would have gone to the dump site, it has been diverted because of this partnership. It has created over 500 jobs through the franchise model. So who can tell me what type of partnership is this? What type of partnership is this? Can you map it? Please, I'll take all your questions later. High influence, high interest. So who is high influence? Who is high interest? Good. So now Unilever has high interest, high influence, and they have high interest. And recyclers, when we started, we didn't have high influence. We had low influence but high interest. But right now, we have now grown to have high influence, high interest. Right? That's why in that, when we're talking about this, it's supposed to be small NGOs or organizations. I think I put it in here. No, here's here. Okay, high interest. So community groups or small NGOs. Small NGOs, very important, right? I'm saying this is very important because you can now grow from that person to the other person, right? Good. So you don't have to stay at that high influence, low influence, high interest forever as an NGO or organization. You can go, you can grow. Great. Now let me give you another example. This is the final case study for today. And this one is, I mean, this is literally like my baby, one of my babies in recyclers. So when I started working with recyclers, we usually have like like the office recycling initiative, and we're partnered with Sahara to collect recyclables from their office. And it was just that small partnership just to collect recyclables from their office. And then I got talking to them, speaking, maintained the relationship, continued to send the reports. And then one day I told them about our kiosk system, which we had done with Unilever, we had done with Nestle, we had done with Ministry of Environment. I told them about it. And this time I told them because we were looking for land. One of the kiosks that were dropped in the land, there was no, they wanted us to take it off because there was something happening there. They needed the space and there was no place to put it. Now, this is a Unilever sponsored kiosk, right? And then Sahara gave us a space. That's what they did. They had a space in front of their office at Ijora, and then they gave us a space to keep the container. And then we kept the container there. And guess what? I was sending them reports. Say, oh, this container is doing very well. And then we're sending them reports. And one time we had a program. They said, oh, yes, this is so good. I told them about the people that bring the recyclables, how much they are making, and how it is helping the life of people in the community where they are having their office. And, because of that program, they don't have to exactly just keep maybe giving food or anything. And they were interested. And they said, oh, how can we take this up? And I'm like, you can sponsor more kiosks. And we began the conversation. And when we began the conversation, I was really open to them to say that, look, this kiosk thing is very good. It's very interesting. We can have it in multiple locations. But I'll tell you for free that this kiosk, the major challenge we have with it over the years, working with different organizations to set up kiosks, is land in Lagos. It's not easy for us to get a land space in Lagos. And then the Sahara lady just goes, oh yeah, that's true. Remember that it was because they had sent us out of where we were with a particular kiosk. That was what brought this partnership in the first place. And so I did not say, oh, it's just a small space that they gave us. Why do I need to send them reports? I was sending them reports. And so we decided to come up with a public-private partnership. And we now involved LSCTF. LSCTF is Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. And then their role is that, they are government, so they can help us get the land. Sahara, they'll fund recyclers to set up the kiosks, and it was a lot of money at the time. And then they funded the kiosk initiative. So recyclers would put up the kiosk. Our own role is to maintain the kiosk, and we have been sending reports. So we did 12 of, we signed, the agreement was to do 12. So we are done like 4 or 5. I started having challenges. Part of the challenges were the land that LSCTF was getting for us. There are not spaces that we think, when we go and do our assessment and all of that, there are not spaces that we think that, we can have like good numbers in terms of people bringing recyclables to us. And we needed like more option, and the project was dragging. The project is still there now. I think we've done about 9 or 10, and we have like 2 to go. So we now brought in like Ibile Oil and Gas as well. Ibile Oil and Gas is also a government agency, and they also helped us to get like some locations. Then we speak to like local government as well. But like it's like LSCTF and the Ibile that will help us talk to local government so that we can get the land for free. And then recyclers will continue to pay the salary of the person that is there. And that is a public-private partnership. I took us through this journey so that you don't think that when you meet somebody big or a big organization, the next thing you want to be asking for is 30 million naira or 40 million naira. Ask yourself, what is the lowest hanging fruit? What can we do at the beginning? It can be a cleanup event in terms of waste management. It can be an awareness program in just one small community. In fact, they might not give you money at first. They might just give you their platform. But at the end of the day, you can grow that relationship into what you want it to be. And at this note, I would say, trust the process. It is progress over perfection. In building partnership, just like managing other relationships, you grow by the day. Don't expect so much when you yourself have not given so much. Don't commit what you cannot give. And on that note, I would say thank you, and I'm open to taking your questions. I'm open to your questions. Any question? Any question?
Okay, there are also some questions in the QA box. Somebody is asking how you can partner with recyclers in Taraba State.
In Taraba State. Okay, so partnering with recyclers in Taraba State, so you can send, so we have the franchise model, and the franchise model enables us to go to like different states. I know that we're not in Taraba currently. I'll have to confirm with the franchise team. But I know that we're in Abuja, we're in Adamawa. So you can send an email to partners, as in PARTNERS, at recyclers.com. And then that email will come to me. I will then forward to the franchise manager, and that person can, direct you better how you can partner with recyclers in Taraba State.
All right, thank you, ma'am, for sharing that. So there's also another question from Francis, and he's asking how the government in Nigeria can foster collaboration between different stakeholders to address climate change challenges.
How the government? I'm not in government. I'm not in government, honestly. So I think that the role of government majorly is policy. That's like the major role of the government, policy, developing like policies. So, and I think that when we have policies in place that can help us fight these challenges, then we'll go. And it's not just like developing the policies, it's also like enforcement of the policy, which is something that, we're growing. I feel like everybody needs to understand that, we're a developing nation. A lot of people forget that a lot. So when you're comparing us to the US or the UK, you forget that, oh, we're a developing nation. Like, you know what a developing nation is? It's just like comparing a 2-year-old to a 60-year-old, right? So you cannot expect the same thing. So you cannot put us on the same pedestal. But the government can do better. And I believe that the government is trying. I'm not one of those people that like to just talk down, because I feel like all of us, right? If you get to that role, you might do worse, because at different levels you see people do things and you're like, oh, and you're blaming the government. Like, why are you blaming the government? You say that it's the government, but in this your position, you have also like done what that person would do. So government is enforcement. And sometimes when government starts to enforce or begin to enforce like policies, a lot of us are angry. We're not happy. So I remember when the government banned Okada in Lagos, I was angry. Why would they ban Okada? What do they want those people to be doing? How do they want them to feed? But recently, I was just talking to somebody and I'm like, thank God that that Okada in Lagos was banned, because the traffic that we experienced at the beginning of this year and late last year, a lot of people would have used bike. But what the person said shocked me. The person said, you don't know the impact. You need to go to Igbobi. That's the hospital for bones. The doctors there said that the rates at which people lose their lives and have like bone issues have reduced drastically after that ban and enforcement. So sometimes the policy might not favor us, and sometimes might not be happy with it, but government's role is to make policies and enforce the policies. Yeah, I think I tried.
Thank you, ma'am, for that. So there's also a question from Idorei, and the person is asking, how do we manage stakeholders with high interest but demand financial benefits?
Like the stakeholder has high interest, but they are demanding financial benefits. So I need to understand that question clearly. What kind of financial benefit are they demanding? So if you're a business, they're demanding for you to pay them back. Let's say they're asking for like return on investment. You have to give them or show them that you can, do like a return on investment. So, but if they are, I don't know now, but if they are a business and you have to do like a return on investment, you have to really give them like a return on their investment. And that's the only thing I think that's, I don't know, high interest, but they're demanding for money. Does it mean that you are the government or you're a business, you have money, and then this person that has interest or has an NGO is asking you for money to do the project that they want to do? So how do you manage these people? Okay, I think I get the question now. So how do you manage those people? So you first look at your own like goals, and then when you understand like your goals, you now look at what are my expectations from this person. If the person is not meeting your expectation, please ask for like your expectation, ask for a report and spell it out at the beginning of the partnership, so that everybody is aware of what they're supposed to do.
Okay, so my other question is from Aminat, and she says, can you share some advice for youth and youth groups to keep up with policies so that they can be up to date and recognize opportunities for collaboration?
Can I share advice for youths?
For youth and youth groups to keep up with policies so that they can be up to date and recognize opportunities for collaboration.
Okay, for youths, to keep up with policy, honestly, is for you to look at the high influence, high interest individuals in terms of government in that sector. So we're all now doing sustainability, but even in sustainability, there are different things. So if, for instance, you are doing, you are educating people about climate change, you need to be informed what is happening in the educational sector as well as what is happening in climate change. But if in climate change you're now doing recycling, you need to know what is happening in recycling. If in recycling, if in waste management you're doing recycling, somebody else is doing upcycling, like converting the materials to other materials, right? So those, like, you need to first know like what sector you're in, and then either I do get like newsletter from these people. So there's some organizations that I get newsletter from every month because they are high influence, high interest, like the UN. There's some NGOs as well that are now high influence and high influence, high interest. I get like newsletters from them. I follow them on social media. I check like their pages on LinkedIn, and that's how you that's how you can stay updated with these policies. Otherwise, things will just be happening. Now, UN summit, um summit for the future just happened. And I was just telling myself just before this section that, oh, I need to go and see like the things, the decisions that were made, the policies that are coming out from there, so that I'm aware of the ones that concerns me, because it's not everything that concerns me. I mind my business and I drink my water. Let me drink.
Okay, so I'll just pick up the last question, which is from Musa. And it says, how can one partner with international organizations with high influence and high interest as an individual with high interest but low influence?
Okay, so how can you partner? Sorry, why is this doing this to me? Organization? Honestly, it's not easy. It's not easy to start that partnership. I've worked with various international organizations. I've partnered with them. But I'll say that the most important thing is building trust, and you can meet anybody anywhere. So that's why when people say that, oh, this is the best place to meet people. Let me give you an example. My boss, Wally, he met somebody in the gym. He goes to the gym, CrossFit, and then he met somebody, and the person happens to work with one international organization. And they didn't even have like a presence in Nigeria, but we were able to like work with them in Recyclers for projects. I managed that project. So when we're going to start Fair Plastic Alliance, and I needed like support. Fair Plastic Alliance is an NGO that, I work with. I'm not being paid. It's something I'm passionate about. I'm not the founder. I am not, is an international NGO that, I got the opportunity to manage. And so when I was given Fair Plastic Alliance to manage and I needed like funders, like first set of funders, I went to these people and I said, oh, I think that this would interest you, this NGO. And they're like, oh, yes, it will interest us because we're doing this program and it's with NGOs. We can't do it with recyclers because recyclers is a social enterprise. I'm like, oh yes, I can organize the program for you here in Nigeria and get people to attend. And then I organized the program. It was on circular economy. I had government agencies. I had like different people attended, and it was a success. I sent my report to them, and then they said, "Oh yes, let's do another one." We did another one. It was a success. We did another one. It was a success. And then they invited me to Cape Town. And then I went to Cape Town and had like a meeting with them, had like a training with them as well. And then came back, we're already building like trust, right? And then did I did like and I pitched some of the programs that I wanted to do. So you see, the first thing was that I did the program that they wanted to do. Then I now pitched the program after like months of working with them, and I pitched like the program that I wanted to do. So it's not like putting carrying your own problem on your head. This is the project I want to do. This is the project I want to do. This project, you have to be very flexible, right? Sometimes you might have to first do what they want to do. And I'm not saying that break your rules or do something that is outside of what you would normally do. I'm saying that do something that, if this thing is part of what you want to do or aligns with what you do, why not do it first? Why are you bent on, this is, I've set a standard, this is what I must do first, this is the second thing I must be flexible, right? So I did that program, and after that, the lady that I knew there, she left the company. But fortunately for me, when I was in Cape Town, I already, built like my relationship again with some other people. For instance, this year, they sponsored me for a training in Germany, and then they also sponsored me to Netherlands. Now this partnership has gone beyond my boss, Wale. Like, they're not even like, this person I'm working with now doesn't even know like Wale, the person that started the partnership or the relationship in the first place, right? So it's about you and how you manage the relationship, how you build trust over the years, not like because like the MD CEO of a company or the MD CEO of this organization, you not think that, oh, I can do anyhow, I know the MD CEO. No, you have to know that whatever you are doing, let it be that if that person changes, let the next person be happy to work with you. You have to create that part. And then sometimes it's not really the MD CEO. It might be the person that's just down there that is very key for you to get like that partnership. Yeah.
Thank you so, so much, Mark, for sharing that. It's been an insightful session. And I want us to also put in the chat box, your excitement and the things you've learned. I can see that some people had actually put up some chat box that they really enjoyed the session and they learned a lot of things. So people are even saying they want to partner with recyclers. Okay, okay. Ma says what a wonderful session. Ayuba says excellent. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Someone is also complimenting how real you are with the session. Thank you for the impactful session. She's a natural. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much to our facilitator, Miss Esther. It's been a wonderful session, and I'm sure that everybody has been able to gain a lot of things. It has been amazing. Yes. And would definitely love to have you one more time, just sharing your wealth of knowledge, your wealth of experience. Thank you so, so much, ma'am.